This just in, new information on the bombshell that dropped overnight. UNLV, a team that thought they were going to compete for a playoff spot, best start since 1984, but now their quarterback is leaving middle of the season. Matt Sluka, the senior transfer from Holy Cross, says he is leaving because promises that were made to him weren't kept, the promises of money. Now, these are the average NIL quarterback benefits, and UNLV is a group of 5 team. $116,000 is the amount on average there. There's a report that Sluka was promised $100,000, but none of that was put in writing, and our partners at 24/7 Sports have been all over this story. We want to welcome Matt Zenitz in right now, along with former college quarterback and ACC Offensive Player of the Year, Danny Kanell. Matt, you've been reporting on this from both sides of things. What is going on here? Who is to blame?
Well, it's a situation where there was a verbal agreement in place going back to when Matt Sluka originally committed to UNLV. The verbal agreement was that he would have a deal in the range of 6 figures, specifically $100,000 upon enrolling at UNLV, but it was strictly a verbal agreement at that point that as UNLV presented to him, that they could not execute in terms of a contract until he enrolled, which would not be until July. And then he enrolls in July, takes part in quarterback competition there, wins the job, helps them get off to 3-0 start, but still no contract had been executed. And Matt and his representation had gone to UNLV in the last couple of weeks to try to get this resolved. And not only was it not resolved in these last couple of weeks, but UNLV essentially, the way it was presented to me was tried to lowball him and give him far less than what the original money number was, a number that it was less than 15% of what he was initially promised verbally, and that ultimately led to the situation that we're in now, where a 3-0 UNLV team is without their starting quarterback for moving forward.
I hate this story so much, Matt, just because it's, we're a month into the college football season and we're having to deal with this situation where no one's really to blame. You could put it UNLV if you believe what the quarterback is saying and his family and his representation. You could put it on the quarterback if you're sort of an old school mindset. I can't believe this guy's quitting on his team. The biggest problem is the system itself. It is so incredibly flawed right now that opens the doors to situations exactly like this, where there are no protections in place for the teams in the university. There oftentimes isn't protection in place for the players in situations like this, and everybody loses. And I'll say this isn't just another team. This is a team in the group of 5 which has 2 wins over Power 4 opponents in Houston and Kansas, and very much in the driver's seat, coming off a bye against a very good Fresno State team that's competing for the Mountain West Championship. Timing could not be worse for all of this. I hate this, and now what you're seeing unfold is very much a PR battle by both sides, because if you're the UNLV, you don't want people out there thinking that you're not going to pay and make good on your promises, because that can really hurt you in the future portal movement. And if you're the player, you're saying, well, hold on, I would never quit on my teammates, but I didn't get paid what I was promised. So I'm going to do what every American would if you were promised compensation for a job and you weren't paid after several months. You would leave too. So the PR battle's unfolding right now. The biggest loser, college football fans.
Matt, a lot of these contracts are made, and sometimes it's a handshake, sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's in writing. Why aren't these big money contracts set in stone in writing so something like this doesn't happen?
Well, with this one specifically, UNLV, like I referenced earlier, told Matt Sluka and his camp that they couldn't finalize a contract until he actually enrolled, which, because of circumstances with his situation, he was not able to enroll until July. And then ultimately, after he enrolled, it still wasn't taken care of, and still, as of now, September 25th, it has not been resolved. And during the course of the last couple of weeks also, his camp, the way they verbalized it to me was had thrown out even some different options for UNLV, where they were able to, or willing to find a middle ground with this. I offered to figure something out that would have essentially paid Matt Sluka less than even 50%, and eventually even less than a quarter of what he was initially offered. But ultimately, the number that UNLV was set on was $3,000 a month for the next 4 months, which, like I referenced earlier, was less than 15% of the original number that was thrown out to him. But this is, and this kind of follows up on what Danny was talking about, this is a bigger picture issue for college football. This is unfortunately far from the first situation like this where a player has gotten less than what he was under the impression that he would be getting. The thing that is unprecedented about this one is just that you have a quarterback now, not only a player, but a starting quarterback who is sitting out the rest of the season because of a deal that has gone bad.
And in the middle of a week where they're getting ready for one of their biggest conference games of the season against Fresno State, which is a total toss-up game, really. Matt, what is UNLV saying about this publicly right now? What are they doing on their side of things? Because we know there are conflicting reports going around right now about this.
So UNLV's collective is saying that they never agreed to pay Matt Sluka $100,000, where Matt Sluka's camp is saying that offer was made by somebody on the UNLV coaching staff. So at best, from a UNLV perspective, there was a lack of communication there, and somebody on the UNLV staff that was verbalizing something that they weren't necessarily in position to be able to follow through on.
Danny, put yourself in that locker room for UNLV right now. You're 3-0. You're on the edge of the top 25. You're in the playoff hunt. You're off to your best start in 40 years. Huge game coming up. How do you get past this to play a game in a couple of days with another quarterback?
Players have an amazing ability to compartmentalize. You know, they really do. We see players get hurt all the time. You know, I've been at practice where a guy had a fractured bone and his leg is sticking the wrong way, and it's move the drill. We got to get moving on. Like, it's a unique mindset that players have. This is challenging, though. I mean, it's such a unique circumstance, and I'm sure there's some players on there that might have NIL deals, and maybe they're in the same situation, or a similar situation. Maybe they're taking less, and they're like, man, what should I do the same? I just cannot imagine what Barry Odom is trying to do and say to his football team right now to get them back focused and have that next man up mentality when it isn't an injury that you're dealing with, whether it is a contract dispute. But even in the NFL, and since we're becoming the NFL, minor league NFL, I've been in locker rooms where there have been contract disputes. And for the most part, players are able to differentiate. Hey, everyone's got to take care of their own. He has got a personal issue, financial issue, whatever it is. We just got to be ready to go to battle without him. And so, unfortunately, that's probably the mindset that this UNLV team will have to take on this weekend.
It's a developing story, very fluid right now, but great reporting from Matt Zenitz and our crew over at 24/7 Sports, and Danny Kanell giving us the players angle as well. Head on over to 247sports.com for all the latest on this story and much, much more, including transfer portal updates, and that's where Matthew Sluka is going to be headed very soon, to the transfer portal.